Well, welcome to a live event. We're so excited that you've joined us, and we're going to be able to talk about several things as we go through our event today. We're going to be around for about an hour. Hey, maybe you can join us for 5 minutes, maybe you can join us for the whole session, but we're going to walk through several things. We're going to talk about right now relevant topics. We're going to have a live money debate of a topic that I've not been informed of. Our team has selected it. We're going to answer some questions that people have sent in, and we're going to react to some things. Financial trivia is going to happen, and so this live broadcast is going to happen worldwide. Let's talk about it right now. Let's get with it. Hey, I am joined with Craig Fatt. Can we bring him up? There he is.
I'm here.
Craig
I'm
Fatt
in the
is
room.
here. We
I'm in
can
the
even
room.
put him in a side box. Watch this. There's Craig. Side box Craig.
Help.
Side box Craig.
Help.
Get out of the box. Get out of my box. Okay, there we go. Let's talk about some right now relevant. Last night, you may have heard, somewhere around 10 p.m., the big, beautiful, braggadocious bill. It passed, 215, 214. Let's go through some key items that are in it that affect Americans. Now, the Ways and Means says they have passed it, and families stand to gain over $13,000 in take-home pay. Workers could see wage increases of more than $11,000. They believe that more than 7 million jobs will be secured in the next 4 years, and that there's going to be enhanced small business relief and made in America incentives that reward hiring and making stuff here in America. Parents are going to benefit from an expanded inflation-adjusted child tax credit and an enhanced standard deduction. And family farmers are going to get peace of mind with a double death tax exemption that protects their generational lands and livelihoods. And so let's talk about some key components that are part of it, Craig, and help everybody understand what's going on. So listen, you might be a Democrat, you might be a Republican, you might be an independent. We're going to take the politics out of this and just talk about the bill itself. One of the big things that it does, box, Craig, is it makes the 2017 Trump tax cuts permanent, okay?
Right.
So what does that mean? It means that the average person is the first 20% of sub-S corporations' profit is not subject to tax, which allows the companies to reinvest it. So our organization benefits from that if we're profitable. Are we profitable?
We're on the way.
Yeah, there we go. And it also ensures that they become permanent because they're due to sunset.
Right.
And so it makes them permanent. That's a big deal.
Do you think is that, in your opinion, because there's a lot of things, right? You listed off, it might have been 8 things just there, and there's plenty more that happened or are going to happen or going to impact people. Even just looking at the things that you listed off, is there one that you would say, hey, this is probably going to have the biggest impact on people in general? Right,
Yeah.
their everyday life. Well, maybe 1 or 2 that you're like, this is pretty important. And maybe it doesn't seem like it is, or people wouldn't necessarily know.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest one is that Americans earning under $100,000 received an average tax cut of 16%.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
That was back in 2017.
And
And the
that-
bottom 20% of earners, those with incomes up to $26,000, saw their federal tax rate fall to its lowest level in 40 years. And so they only have 149 legislative days to act before those tax cuts would expire. So that's why they are really moving this through. So the average family of 4 that makes $80,610, which is the median household income in the United States, they would see a tax increase of $1,700. And that's about 9 weeks worth of groceries for that typical family of 4.
Okay.
So 40 million families would see the household child tax credit cut in half. 91% of taxpayers would see their guaranteed deduction slashed in half.
If this didn't happen, is that what you're saying? Okay, wow.
So, and 7 million taxpayers would go back to the alternative minimum tax, which would increase their taxes a lot. And 2 million family-owned farms would have their death tax exemption slashed in half next year. And this is a big deal because farmers farming the same land have had the value of their land increase substantially. And people are dying. I don't know if you know that. They die. And the kids inherit the family farm that they intend to farm, and they have to actually sell portions of the farm or the whole farm just to pay the death tax on it. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I want the farmers to continue to farm.
That would be positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest one. But let's talk about when Trump was running, one of the big things that got him elected, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is that he would say no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and eliminating taxes on Social Security. Do you remember that? We got it up here on the screen. So this is a big deal. So let's talk about those no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and then we'll talk about the rest of it. But in the bill that they passed, Craig, there is up to $1,750 for overtime workers, so no tax. $1,700 for tipped workers, so $1,750 for people working overtime, $1,700 for tipped workers, and up to $450 for seniors in a tax reduction. So that they've got it in there, but it's not going to be for all of their tips, and it's not going to be for all of their Social Security, and it's not going to be for all of their overtime.
Right.
And the reason why is, well, they can't get it to pass otherwise, because the deficit spending that would be required to cover that reduction in tax revenue is so great. So as with everything, there is a reason why there's a two-party system with some run around independent elected officials, is to balance this out, right? We cannot have one party totally in charge, no matter how much we on either side would want that. There is this balance, and that leads to compromise if you want to get something done.
Right. So I think it'd be important to talk about then, we're Fully Funded Life. We help people with their personal finances. These are important things to know about, right? Going through the rest of the year and into next year and tax season. A lot of this is obviously tax-based things. I mean, that's where a lot of these decisions are, what they're impacting. One of the things that you mentioned, and correct me if I'm wrong, was something about the child tax credit. Did you say that increased?
In 2017, they doubled the child tax credit.
So they're just continuing what they did with that.
Yeah, so they're locking it and making it permanent.
Right.
Because a lot of these things that they passed is they have expiration dates.
Right.
10-year expiration date, 8-year expiration date. That's how they get them to pass, because they're like, hey, if if it's not working, it'll expire. Yeah. And it just go away. And so it's not permanent. And making it, if it's causing deficit spending, it's not making it permanent.
Right.
It's saying, hey, it's just for 8 years. Let's see how it works. And so opponents to this type of tax cut plan would say, well, you're trying something called trickle-down economics, which is, hey, if we cut taxes on businesses, that will trickle down to the American worker. That it'll cause more investment because we're not taxing the first 20% of profits of these businesses. And it will cause and if there's less taxes being paid by families, well, that will stimulate more economic activity. And there's people that say that that's not working. And in some way, it's not working as good as they want it to. And one of the biggest reasons why it has not worked, well, that freedom of money supply, there's been more supply of money. People had more money. Well, it helps stimulate inflation. Because if more people have more money supply, this is something called the quantity theory of money. I'm going to be nerdy here for a minute.
Go ahead.
That quantity theory of money says if you increase the supply of money, then inflation is bound to rise. And to contain inflation, they have to increase rates. Well, that's exactly what has happened since 2017. The money supply increased from less taxes. It also increased because of COVID. We sent money to everybody, not just those who need it, but everybody. And I think they did it correctly, except for the last swath of money that they sent out was not needed. And that just set inflation afire. Right. It was kind of like saying, hey, there's a bunch of gasoline out here. I wonder what would happen if we threw a match on it.
Yeah.
And as a result, food costs have went up 28%. I would argue with that. I don't know where the 28% is. I've seen 50 and 75% increases on most of the things that we buy at the grocery store. And as a result, all of the extra money that was freed up got ate up, gobbled up
By inflation.
By inflation.
Right.
And so therefore rates went up. And it actually has locked up major components of the economy. This is why a lot of people are not putting their houses on the market, because people like you and me, locked in 2.5% and 5% seems outrageous relative to 2.5%. Yep. Well, then it's 7.5% on mortgages. And so there's some things that are structurally put into the market that over time will go away, these low interest rates. But people are holding on to houses much longer than they typically would have because of the substantial difference. Yeah.
Well, it's slowed a lot down with, like what you talked about. Maybe the average person doesn't think about, okay, there's the increase of money, that increases inflation, that increased rates. Well, what ends up happening is it becomes a lot more difficult, right, for families that are starting out to buy that first house.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a lot different. If the house of the price is the exact same, it's a lot different paying 2.5% and paying 6.5%.
So rates go up causes what? Money supply to go down.
Exactly.
Which what? Causes inflation to go down. Where are we at right now in that cycle of quantity theory of money? The money supply is tightened, and they call that restrictive monetary policy from the Federal Reserve. And as a result, rates have moderated. Well, the next step for them is to lower rates. Why? To cause money supply to go up. They have to do it a way that maintains inflation.
Right.
That's a tough thing. So I don't envy Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve. Now, hey, we encourage you to go to waysandmeans.house.gov. You can read all the details of the bill. I've got a question for you, Craig. How many words are in the bill that they just passed? You want to guess how many words?
Tell me if I'm over or under. I'm going to say 100,000 words.
I would say you are low. The average book, hardback book, 40,000 words. All right. So you just guessed 2.5 times the average size of a book. So kind of a Harry Potter size book you guessed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do 250,000.
Now you're over. It's 174,792 words. And when I dropped it into Microsoft Word, it came out to 448 pages. Okay. Now I'm going to just go to a random page in the middle of it. And I'm just going to read a line of it just for fun. You ready?
Oh no.
Just so you need.
What page are you on?
I'm going to go, let's see. I clicked on the page here.
Surprised your computer isn't smoking.
It is actually smoking. I don't know what page I'm on. I'm in the middle of it, okay? Somewhere in the middle. You. And I am in something 7, part A. You ready?
Yeah.
Certain FMAP increases. A state shall not be treated as not providing medical assistance to all individuals described in section 1902A 10 part capital A little I Roman numeral 8, or as not expending amounts for all such individuals under the state plan or waiver of such plan solely because such an individual is determined ineligible for medical assistance under the state plan or waiver on the basis of a failure to meet the requirement to demonstrate community engagement under paragraph 1.
That is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
So I think one of the things that cracks me up is when people say, that senator voted for that bill without having read all of it. The reason being is because of sentences like that.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Oh,
that was actually page number 156 of my Microsoft Word document.
If you want to download it, go check out page 156.
But I'm currently working through it. But I will tell you, have a friend, you can copy this and post it in a chat GPT and say, summarize this.
Yeah, that would be
and it will
so
help
helpful.
You. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to go to Open AI and I'm going to dump that in there and say, summarize.
Tell it to give
Can you summarize the following text?
Tell it to give you like bullet points. Give me like 5 bullet points.
For me in 5 bullet points.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the open.
Will it? It is? I'm not even typing it in yet.
I'll say the OpenAI servers are going to implode. It just all shrinks into one. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how what else is in there, how it impacts people, what it does. Again, to the money supply. Because I think a big thing that you talked about was it's keeping those tax cuts, which inherently that means keeping more money in people's hands, right? And so with that being said, what happens when that happens, right? You keep more money in people's hands, they spend more, inflation goes up, rates go up, like that. So we're at a weird kind of crossroads because rates are very high. And so you want them to come down, but we're keeping more money in people's hands. So it's a constant juggling act of spinning plates. So it's always fun to watch. But
I'm telling you, it's tough. Hey, I wanted to tell you, the summary is here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, the One Big Beautiful Act, key highlights. It's an extension and expansion of tax cuts.
Yep.
It is increasing. A big one is the SALT tax, the state and local tax deduction. So it was capped at $10,000. It is now going to go, I think, somewhere near $40,000 because there's a lot of states, blue states primarily, New York, New Jersey, California, have very high property taxes, and they capped it out at $10,000. And now it's going to go way up. There are significant spending cuts to social programs, Medicaid and SNAP. They believe 8.6 million people will lose some level of health coverage, 3 million fewer SNAP receipts. That's a big deal. There's increased defense and border security funding. The bill allocates $150 billion in additional defense spending, $20 billion for a nationwide missile defense system, $140 billion for border security, and $50 billion to complete the southern border wall.
A lot of B's.
Fiscal impact and national debt concerns. Well, it's expected to add $3.3 trillion over the next 10 years. It's a lot. That's kind of $330 billion a year. And the House passed the bill with a narrow 215 to 214 vote after an all-night session.
Oh, man.
So now it's going to go to the Senate. Get ready. We're going to keep you there. The big, beautiful bill, self-described. Now, I did want to say one other thing real quick before we move on to our live money debate. Hey, make sure that you're maxing out your retirement contributions if at all possible. They increased the 2025 contribution limits for some things. The IRA and Roth IRA are at $7,000. You can do a catch-up if you're 50 or older of $1,000. 401k is at $23,500 with a catch-up of $7,500 if you're age 50 and over. If you have a simple IRA, it's $16,500. You can catch up $3,500 age 50 and over. They actually have another catch-up if you're age 60 to 63 of another $5,250. Total of $5,250, not $3,000 plus $5,250.
Right.
And if you have an HSA, you can contribute as a family $8,550 with a $1,000 catch-up if you're age 55 or over. And so I just wanted to share that with you. Hey, you can quickly Google it. Hey, what is the max that I can contribute to my investment account? That's rung number 6 of our fully funded life ladder and rung number 8 when you're starting to max that out.
Yep.
All right, it's time for a live money debate. Ooh. We're going to do this in the style of some of these YouTube debates that you've had. And, we have another live
news.
Breaking news. Craig, bring it.
This one just made me happy. This is my breaking news. Yesterday? Monday, Capital One officially acquired Discover. Did you know about this?
Yeah. So
Very
they
exciting.
announced it nearly a year ago.
Last year, but it's a fit now.
So the acquisition is complete.
Mm-hmm. Here's why I love it. One, we talk about this all the time. The online savings accounts, high yield savings accounts. Capital One has a great one. Do you use Capital One?
I used to when they bought ING Direct's Capital One 360 account, and a lot of people still use it.
Yep. So Capital One's it really is great, and Discover's another one that I've used forever just because of their the different credit card options they have. It's my everyday option, right? It's using my Discover card. So it's going to be interesting to see what that means because now it actually happened.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of these things, it'll get announced. It takes a long time.
You know, one of the things that I think is interesting is they believe that it will bring increased competition to Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah, because those two are so unique.
Because they're a powerhouse. Mm-hmm. So it's really good. So, that's one of the things that is interesting to watch because in reality, you wanted to see if this was going to have any anti-competition, monopolistic type stuff.
Right.
But it actually helps them become more powerful in competing against some already very powerful brands.
Right.
So it's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes. Want to debate?
Actually, let's do some Q&A first.
Q&A.
All right. We got some questions that they're going to share with us. They're going to put them on the screen here, and we're going to quickly answer them. Let's answer them, Craig. Okay, so Joanne sent in a question, and hey, we really appreciate you guys sharing questions. If you have some other questions, you can share them in the comments right now. Maybe we can get them in live at the end of this hour of the broadcast. But the question is, what if you're working on rung number 2? And if you're not familiar with our ladder, rung number 2 is building your initial emergency fund equal to 1 month's worth of expenses. And you have a situation that causes you to either charge it or use part of your emergency fund. What should you do? Well, I would not charge it.
No.
I would use some of the emergency fund. And then you would reduce any additional payments on debt beyond the minimum payment and focus on rebuilding the wall, rebuilding the emergency fund.
Right. The person asking that question is likely pretty early on in the journey.
Early on in their journey to a fully funded life.
And they're hitting that point of, okay, I have to make a decision because this is one of those pebbles in the road that can derail you.
Yeah.
It's like we got plenty of them. You get a nail in the tire and it's going to be some $400, $500.
Devastating.
And you weren't planning on this. And you can either take from that emergency fund that you started building, maybe you have $300 in there and you're like, I'm on the way.
Yeah.
Or I can just charge it and keep that. And so that's a tough
I would
thing.
just say this, it is disheartening to have your emergency fund. Now you're moving to rung 3 where you're starting to contribute to a retirement account, and rung 4 paying extra on debt. It is disheartening to have to step back down the ladder and repair that rung. And what I would say is, instead of focusing on the negative, focus on the positive. Hey, for once, we actually have an emergency fund so that we don't go into debt. Right. That is a huge win. And then buckle down, work some overtime, get a side gig, whatever it is, cut out an expense or two for a month or two, get that emergency fund rebuilt. You cannot operate successfully in a fully funded life with a wall in disrepair. Great question. Thanks, Joanne, for sending that in. Hope that helps. Next question. Jennifer V says, any ideas to consolidate credit card debt? I've tried for a fixed rate home equity loan, was denied due to a debt income ratio. The minimum payments on the card is our biggest problem. We're self-employed. That's challenging. You have a lot of tax write-offs. Our home is our biggest asset. We owe $225. It's currently appraised at $430. Great. We have $100 grand in debt, mostly cards over a 25-year span. Our credit score is 700. Good credit score. Have about 68,000 investment accounts, 401k and Roth IRAs. Hey, this same situation I just referenced of another person. It's the same thing in a Monday Money Tip that's going to come out soon. Yeah. Hey, let's put that question up there. I want to see that last part real quick. 401k and Roth IRAs. Okay, so that money is not really accessible. Even if loans are available, I wouldn't do it. Okay, so how do you consolidate debt when they won't approve it? I would tell you this. I would go and apply for one 0% balance transfer offer. One. That's going to be a hard pull on your credit, which will temporarily take your credit score down, but they're going to approve some of that to get it to 0%. That's going to get your minimum payments more manageable. For any card or any amount of the balance that they do not allow to be put on a 0%, I would call every single lender and ask for a lower rate. Tell them that it is a challenge to pay that monthly payment. Can you please lower the rate to 0%? In the first call, if it's not American Express, they're gonna say no, and say, gee, that's too bad. Be nice. We recommend being nice. Good name is rather be chosen than great riches. And then say, can I please speak with your supervisor? And we know from our experience that about 80% of them will lower the rates if you get to the supervisor by somewhere around 6 to 8 percentage points, which will lower your monthly bill.
Yeah.
And if it's American Express, they generally don't play ball at all on lowering rates. But that's what I would do. I would call every one of them, and I would call them every day. I would view it as my job to get control of that, because the average credit card interest rate right now is 24.6%. So 100 grand of credit card debt, that means $24,600 of interest payments. That's $2,000 a month alone in interest payments. If you can get that lowered by 10%, that's $1,000, or that's like $10,000. That's like $833 of interest a month you eliminate. That's worth spending an enormous amount of your time to do that. So Jennifer, I'm sorry you're in that situation. I'm glad you've recognized it. Apply for that 0% balance transfer offer. If they send you an offer in the mail, do it immediately. And then everybody else make the phone call and ask for a lower rate. Anything you would add to that?
No, I think that's good. I think making it clear, hey, there are steps that you can take to manage this, because I think there can be fear with that. Obviously, there's fear of like, what do I do? It's almost too much. It's like, no, the reality is it can be scary, but there are real steps you can take to manage it. Step one, go get a 0% balance card. I promise, they're promoting them. You can find one and go get as much as you can on there, because then I think Discover, this was maybe a couple of years ago, I don't know if it's now, they had like an 18-month 0% balance. So for 18 months, your interest would be zero. And if you can get even a small amount, would be so helpful.
If you go to our website at iwasbrokenowimnot.com and click on next steps, you can see 0% balance offer. So we keep a running list of them there to help you advance in your financial situation. We call it gaining traction.
Right.
You know, if you've ever been stuck in snow or a mud hole and you can't move, it's invaluable what traction can do for you. And lower interest allows you to get traction.
Yep.
Okay,
awesome.
Any other questions? Oh, here we go. Anne Marie. Is this your wife?
I don't think so. Let's find out.
Is her middle name Marie? Annie Marie?
Her name is
Anne Marie. My partner and I are looking for help in merging our finances and planning for the future. Tips for what to consider financially when getting married.
Ooh.
Well, I would tell you right now, one tip is I would move away from saying our money, from your money or my money to our money.
Right.
I think that'll be a huge benefit to you to be able to do that. I think another tip is I would start looking at what a budget looks like with all income and all bills in there.
Right.
And the greatest thing you can bring into a marriage is in control financial behavior. And that you've had conversations about what you want to accomplish with your life. What does a fully funded life look like? And a recognition that each of you are going to make money mistakes and rush to forgiveness. Rush to forgiveness. Any other tips you would give them as they're looking to merge their finances?
Well, one of the things that you hit on this point, one thing that I did, and it was a recommendation by you, before I got married, me and my wife sat down and we wrote down our plans, hopes, and dreams individually. Because my wife doesn't have a dream to ride dirt bikes. But I do. I love that. But she has other dreams that I don't have. And writing those down, because a lot of your dreams, there's financial undertones to them.
Do you want to ride dirt bikes with me?
I would love to.
Let's go.
We did it a couple of weeks ago. It was great. So listen, being able to sit down and be like, here's what my dreams are, here's what your dreams are, and then coming together and saying, okay, which of these there's overlap? There's going to be naturally overlap. And then figure out, well, what are our dreams together? And then having the understanding that, okay, with your finances, you can then decide, we want to do these dreams. Let's put them into what our financial plan is for our future, right? Because if you don't, you're not taking steps towards them, and then they're just dreams.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why so many people deal with horrible financial anxiety or outright depression is they're living non-fully funded lives. And they don't see any progress towards a dream, and they've been stuck for 20 years.
Right.
And so if they're not careful, human behavior will just give up on it. And it's so sad. So I would just encourage you, one other thing, Anne Marie, and congrats on your coming nuptials, is this. Recognize that it's okay for dreams to change. You know, life changes. Things you get exposed to and things that you learn about that you didn't even know existed. Are going to show up, and allow yourself grace to remove certain dreams from the list. You know, I don't think I'm going to make my dream of being in the NBA. It's just not going to happen,
I'm
Craig.
holding on to
It's
it.
just not going to happen for
Did
me.
you hear about the award I won? My son gave me the best football player award.
I heard
So
you
still
got the
have,
best football player award.
I
Congrats,
could,
man.
I
Listen,
might make
can
it.
I shake your hand right here? Ooh, good job, man.
You're welcome.
But allow yourself to take some dreams off. I've removed that from the list, and I'm okay with it. I went and buried that dream.
Yeah.
But I had some other dreams. You know, I want to have this little off-grid cabin. I didn't know I'd want that, but now I do.
Right.
And so I've added it. And my wife was a little confused about why I would do that. But, you know, it's not to live in. It's just go visit occasionally when I'm down on the farm.
It's to visit.
And plus, it's just fun. We like building things. So add dreams to the list as you go along. And some of your things you're going to be universally, lockstep, unified on. And others, it's just individual. And nothing fires up Joe Sangl more than funding a Jen Sangl dream.
Right.
I'm sure the same is for Craig Fat, for an Annie Fat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
100%.
vice versa. Any other questions? Nope. We get to debate. Man, I'm so excited about this. Now, listen, I'm a little jealous because we have Craig over here in the box. Could I ever be in the box? That's what I want to know.
No.
Could Joe be in the box?
You
Because
gotta do
right
a lot of
now,
things.
you're kind of boxed in.
You
And
gotta do a lot of things.
Yeah, it's
in the
great.
box.
All right, so money debate. You ready to debate?
Yeah, so this is how this works, okay? We're gonna see the topic.
Do you know the topic? You do know the topic.
I saw it yesterday.
I don't know the topic.
I saw it yesterday. I almost lied. Well, we may accidentally lie in the debate. To be clear, we don't. I kind of know the topic. Joe doesn't. I'll let you choose a side then, because
Okay.
I've already seen.
We have to choose a side.
Right, and then the other person has to debate strongly the other point. Sometimes the facts get made up, so we're just kind of winging it, and we're going to pick and go. It's going to have some sort of a money angle to it.
And we want the listeners,
The chat.
we want you
Tell us,
to tell everybody that I was right.
or give us ideas to.
And so
argue.
we assume new names, and so we're going to assume them right now. Hi, my name is Joe Money,
I'm Craig Cash.
and we're going to debate.
Let's do it.
go.
Should college be free? You take your side. What do you think?
Absolutely not.
What?
College should not be free.
It needs to be free.
Why?
Well, listen, if college is free, what does that mean? What happens if college is free? More people will go into college, right? Because that is obviously a barrier, right, for people to step into college, the financial aspect. If more people go into college, this is trickle-down economics 101 in college format. Ready? More people go into college, more people get educated, more people are educated, they can create more jobs are created, spurs the economy, the whole world is better.
I would say that you're obviously wrong, because what I know is that high school is not free. Like when you send your kids to public school, they say that it's free, but in reality, it's funded how? In most cases, through giant property taxes. So the only way that we're going to be able to make college, quote, free is to tax property owners even more. When in reality, many people don't need to go to college. They could go to trade schools, they could apprentice to learn a job skill set. Others are not interested in going to additional education. When they get done with high school, they're done. They're going into the workforce. In fact, I watch this one guy who's on TikTok. He has a wildly successful TikTok channel, and he's pretty old. And they asked him if he went all the way through school, and he said, "Yes, I did. I went in the front door and walked all the way through out to the back, and I went through 7th grade and left." And he's been successful on his own. So here's what I know, that by paying for education, it creates individual ownership of education. I think they should even take away like 75% of the loans, the predatory loans, and they should be able to loan money, but all the predatory lending should go away. They should offer the loans at fixed rates that are very manageable, and they should not allow anybody to get student loans that exceed more than 1 year's reasonable salary that they could reasonably expect to receive. Because here's the problem, Craig. We got a bunch of people that go to college right now, and they get the equivalent to underwater basket weaving degrees. There is no chance for employment with the degree. And they get $150,000 of student loans that they're going to go to work at Starbucks. Not that Starbucks is bad, but Starbucks can't pay a $150,000 loan back.
Right.
And so college should not be free. it should be manageable. But here is what has happened for colleges, and I'm going. Joe Money's going to go in now.
Well,
you can't bankrupt on student loans. It's like one of the only debts other than taxes that you cannot bankrupt on. And I think that that is bogus, because what it's done is it has given no accountability to the college to be giving education that helps people become more productive financially. In fact, it's just come to college and let's find yourself and let's have a 4-year vacation. And we'll give you another loan. We'll give you another loan. We'll give you another loan, because we get to chase you till you die. They should be able to bankrupt on it, because if people could bankrupt on student loans, you would see colleges get religion real fast on being valuable to the student. I view college as hiring a consultancy to equip myself or my children to become very productive, financial and otherwise, within their community. And if that is not happening, the devil is a liar. We're getting out of here. College should not be free.
Well, it sounds like you're kind of leaning my way. You're talking a lot about how the debt is impacting people and what that does, especially as they move into their future. I totally agree. That's why I'm saying it should be free. I think a lot of your points were just proving my points, that if college was free, you're not going to have these people that are strapped with loans.
I did not say free. I said reasonable.
I know you didn't say free, but every point you made sounded like it'd actually just be better if it was free. Because if it's free, then when people step out of, think about after 4 years, a real person, when they step out of college, they don't have any debt. They're not having to worry about this. What ends up happening overall is there's so much more progress that's going to be made in terms of what people step into, the amount of people that are going to be able to start businesses because of the knowledge they gained in college versus the amount of people that didn't get to go or didn't go, or they're strapped with so much debt that they can't do that thing.
Yep.
And that's a huge impact.
Hey, but listen, did you or your parents pay for college?
Yes.
Yeah. Guess what? I paid for my college. And when I went to Purdue University, go, boiler up, hammer down.
Nope.
When I went to that college, I did not once say that is out of reach cost-wise. I said that is a reasonable thing. Why? Because I applied to the schools of engineering. I looked at the engineering school, mechanical engineering was what I was inclined to, and I looked it up, and I saw that the average starting salary is around $35,000 to $38,000 a year. And so it was $7,500 a year to go to the State College of Purdue University in the state of Indiana. That included room and board. And here's the scholarship I earned. I earned a $250 one-time cash scholarship from a sorority because I was puppeteering at church, and no girls applied for the thing. So I got a scholarship for a girl because they had no girls apply. So I got $250 one time. And I got $1,000 a year from a farm that was sold and made into a perpetual scholarship for kids in Shelby County, Indiana. And it was renewable if I got a C or better. And so I got $4,000 towards my, about $30,000 because they increased it a little bit every year. And then I went to work in the summer. I went to work in the steel mill, and let me tell you, I caught on fire a few times. OSHA needed to go check them out. I had to work 12-hour days, get fired up in a hot steel mill in the summer. And I went to work in the final 2 years, I went to work in an internship that I went and got. No help to Purdue. I went and interviewed for it and got it, and worked in a manufacturing facility. And as a result, when I graduated, I had paid cash for about half of my college. I had about $22,000 student loan debt, but I had ownership. So you know what ownership did? It meant that I got out in 4 years. I didn't go 5 years for a 4-year degree. I didn't go 6 years. I got out. It also meant that but I had manageable debt. $22,000. My first starting salary was $37,000 bucks, and it was manageable. And I got after it and I paid it back. And I will tell you, that sense of ownership made sure that I got out of there in the right time. And I made sure I got a degree that would allow me to be equipped to produce the income necessary to pay it back and not be choked out. That is not happening for the majority of people. But I will tell you that if that was the case, the ownership level of a degree of an education would be at a 10 out of 10 level, and people would, at the colleges, would hold themselves accountable to equipping people to produce real income instead of underwater basket weaving degrees.
Was that your minor?
Yeah, that was my minor. My minor was actually microeconomics.
Was it really?
Personal finances. Okay, so who do you think won? Hey, now one of the things that we do at the end of these is, because we had to argue one side or the other, we have to say what we really think.
I don't think it should be free.
You don't think it should be free?
No.
So it's tough for you to argue that?
Yeah, well, it's like, there's the ownership aspect of it. I think there's a lot of truth in that. If you make that decision, if you're paying that, like, you value things that you pay for a lot more than things you get for free.
Yeah.
I promise. So there's a level to that I think it is important. I think the cost, however, has gotten pretty out of hand for a lot of people, a lot of families. Even when I was going to college, which, it was longer ago than I thought, it wasn't near as bad as it is now.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people, I think, there's got to be something that happens.
Yeah.
I feel like. I don't think the answer is it's free.
Yeah.
But so that is interesting. Like, what could it be?
Hey, by the way, right now you are in college for your master's degree.
Yeah.
Clemson University.
Yeah.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
And
So I
when
guess
are you
I'm
going to
not out of
graduate
college.
with your master's in business?
December. Graduate
In December. And we're going to be fellow graduates at the School of Business.
Shake hand number two.
MBAs from
Come on.
Clemson University. And let me tell you right now, that was not free. The government paid for it. And it has had accountability that says, hey,
Right,
I'm
100%.
getting after this and I'm getting done, and I'm going to get skill sets that help me be better at what I do.
You know what I think is important? The distinction between that, like undergraduate and graduate school, you can tell the people that are in. This isn't. I'm not here just to see what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like no.
I'm here to get work done.
Yeah,
and
we
got
got to
out.
get it done. We got to get it done.
Most of them have gotten families.
Yep.
They're wanting to advance in their career. They're serious.
There's an argument for everyone should start college at age 27 or something, because the amount that people are trying to get done, it's
All right, listen,
crazy.
you need to say who you think won the argument, who argued their side, even if you didn't agree with it, who argued it best, and I really need you to say Joe Money won. That's all I really care about. All right, now we're going to have some comment. Oh, we have a question from a chat from Joshua saying, I'm currently out of college with a debt of around $6,300 and in credit card debt. How should I go about paying both off while trying to save up for a car? My number one thing, Josh, that I would say, let's leave it up there for a second. Can you put me in a side box? Is that possible? Yes. Hey, Joshua, what I would say is follow the Fully Funded Life ladder. Just Google Fully Funded Life ladder. The first step is write down your plans, hopes, and dreams. Let that drive you. Number two, build an emergency fund. You need an emergency fund of a month's worth of expenses. And then what I would do is I would right now call the credit card company or apply for a 0% balance transfer. And with that in place at 0%, I would, any money above and beyond, once you achieve a month's worth of savings, just pound the debt through something called the debt snowball. Whichever's lower, the credit card debt or the college debt, and just pummel it. I mean, get after it. Maybe it's overtime that's available to you, a tax refund, a bonus. Maybe it's a side hustle. Getting after that to be able to attack that. If you end up financing part of the car, which could happen, commit to pay it off. You might do 7-year financing, but commit to pay it off in 4 years and drive it for 8. Commit to driving it for 8. Because if you do, keep paying yourself a payment in year 5, 6, 7, and 8, you'll be able to pay cash for the next car and you'll never again have a car payment. That's what I did. Steve says, maybe you want to read it here, Craig.
What are the best forms of passive income for our new phase of life in retirement? All ideas are welcomed. We don't and we are not looking to work 9 to 5 or weekends.
What are the best forms of passive income
In
when you're
retirement.
retired? Well, listen, right now you can make interest on your savings.
Yeah.
So
high,
you can
yeah.
make pretty good savings. One of the things I would encourage you, which is risk-free, Steve, is U.S. Treasuries.
Yeah, let's
There are U.S. Treasury bills, bonds, and bills are, and there's notes. There are ones that are available for as little as 4 weeks. You lose your money for 4 weeks. You can have 7-week ones. You can have 13-week ones. You can have 17-week ones, 26-week ones, even 1 year long ones. Then there's 2 year, 3 year, 7 year, and 10 year, and all the way to 30 year. But listen, you lose the liquidity of your money for that short period of time, but they are risk-free and they're paying really good interest, somewhere around 4.3% annualized. There is no risk, totally passive. Another way, what is it? What are the latest auctions?
It depends on which series, but they're all close to 3, 4, 5% right now. Even high yield savings accounts, like Joe mentioned, like we mentioned earlier, Capital One, Ally Bank, Marcus, those different banks have high yield savings accounts that, I mean, quite frankly, because interest rates are so high, they can pay a significantly high amount in interest for savings versus Bank of America might be 0.001%.
Yeah, so I'm looking up the bills right now of the recent auctions. And the 20 most recent auctions, you can download these and look at them as well. They all went for around 4.3%.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's on.
And so we hold our reserves there, Steve, so that's a great question. Another way is to consider buying into a REIT, a real estate investment trust. I would encourage you to check out Duke Realty Investment Trust, DRE. It's a stock trading symbol. And that's a lot of commercial property, and they'll pay pretty high dividends based upon that. You could also invest in a real estate transaction where you actually own the property, but you have paid management, property management, so that all you do is you get notification of, hey, they handle the renting of it, they control the eviction if that's necessary, they also control any property management issues such as repairs. I currently have 32 doors that we have. Currently we have 5 commercial properties and then a total of 27 private multi-unit apartment complexes, and they're all managed by a property manager. So I have a quarterly meeting with them and they say, these are all the repairs, this is what happened with the rents, here's what you get.
Yeah. So no 9 to 5, no.
No 9 to 5. And so I would just encourage you to check out. Great question. We also talk about this in a lot more detail, where you could be a silent owner in a business, and a lot of other ways to make passive income in Fully Funded Life. I encourage you to check it out at fullyfunded.life. Okay. Are we going to do some? We're going to do some trivia. Let's go.
I'm excited.
Oh, Jeff is going to read the questions. Can they hear you, Jeff? That's great. That is Jeff McElhannon, our amazing producer and engineer. Way to go. Oh, whoa, let's go.
A question? Give me stock market for 5. Is that 5 points?
That is worth 5 points. That is correct.
And how do we buzz in?
I would just like to yell your name.
Okay.
Craig.
All right. Stock market for 5. This self-aggrandized world's most experienced airline was one of the most popular stocks.
Joe.
Yes, Joe.
Who is TWA? Trans World Airlines.
The company filed for bankruptcy and sold all its assets in 1991. Frankie, you have an answer.
Yeah, I didn't hear that I was wrong. Oh.
There it was. It was late. It was a delayed buzzer. I don't have an answer. I'm gonna guess. Who is Eastern Airlines? Thanks. Pan Am. Oh.
Dad, wait a minute.
I feel like. Oh,
Go again, Craig.
crazy. Do I get to go again? The box office for 3 points.
No chance.
Yeah.
The Star Wars films are some of the most popular movies of all time. This is the highest grossing Star Wars film, pulling in just over $2 billion.
Joe Sangl.
Worldwide. Yes, Joe.
Who is Return of the Jedi?
I don't remember, so I'm going to get an answer from both of you.
Who is the Last Jedi?
The Force Awakens. Still 0-0.
All right, I'm going up.
Listen to Joe Hackford.
Okay,
The stock market 4.
The stock market for 4.
we gotta get better.
This chain was founded in 1892 and had a stock price peak of $157.73 in 2007, but was delisted.
Joe Sangl. Who is Blockbuster?
You think Blockbuster
In
was
2018.
acquired in 1892 or founded?
I forgot that part.
That's so bad.
I know what it is. I
This
know what it is.
chain. No. Get out of here. Don't help me. What did you say though? No, that sounds. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say this chain.
Is it a restaurant, Jeff?
You can't ask that.
Chain? I don't know what changed. What chain? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of.
That's what threw me off.
Can you give us both a hint?
No.
Kodak.
He says Kodak. Sears.
Sears.
Oh
Gosh.
man, we're so bad. Okay, stock market for 3.
When I heard chain, I thought of
The
food.
most expensive stock in the world.
Bam, Joe Sangl. Berkshire Hathaway.
I would have got that.
It is Berkshire.
Boom, I get 3 points.
That's 3 points for Joe.
Look at this. Okay.
You didn't say Berkshire Hathaway.
Stock market for
He also
2.
didn't say it in the
Jeff.
question.
Stock market for
Who is
2.
Berkshire Hathaway?
This once leading energy company filed for bankruptcy in 2001 after it was revealed
Big
that
Craig.
the company had engaged in massive.
Craig Cash. Enron. Who is Enron?
It is Enron.
He gets 2. 2.
All right, Craig, the board is yours.
Let's just do stock market 1.
This company was founded in 1985 and released its IPO in 1998 at a price of $15. The stock peaked at a price of approximately $30 a share in 2002.
Joe Sangl. Who is Blockbuster?
Who is
Boom.
Blockbuster?
5.
I hate that we were you were a millisecond before me.
Prices then versus now. 5.
This iconic toy.
Bang. Who
He's
is
just reading.
Who is Transformers?
He cover his eyes.
Craig, do you have a guess? This
No,
iconic
that
toy
kind of toy launched in
launched in
1960.
1960 at a retail price of $2.99 and was inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame in '98. It retails for $24.99 today.
Light bright. It's got to be light bright.
That's just-
That's
Close.
actually not
That
bad.
was close. All right, let's go back to for 4. Prices then versus now.
This is a daily double.
Oh no.
So do you want to? You can wager up to 4. You want to?
Yeah, I'm wagering all of it for 4.
The first 8-count box of these were produced in 1903 and sold for a nickel a box. The same exact box in 2024 costs $6.67 on Amazon.
8-count box of these.
You know what I thought? It can't be.
What
I
is
thought.
Matchbox cars?
No, 667.
Crayola crayons.
Take him to 0.
An 8-count box?
You do lose.
I'm good to
well,
0.
no, we're not losing points. We ain't got time to
I
lose.
lost.
Points.
Oh, I didn't lose my points.
We ain't got time to lose points. Board is yours, Joe.
Prices then versus now. An 8-count box of
3?
crayons is $6. That's not true.
Crayola?
In 1976, this flexible toy retailed for $11 per toy. Production ceased in '97 for nearly 20 years until it came back in 2016. You can find the original version of this toy at Target today for $24.99.
Flexible toy. We would be so bad at Jeopardy.
Yeah. Flexible toy?
Let's think about it. Let's work together.
1976. This should be up your alley, Joe.
I'm going to say, Joe Sangl, what is Slinky?
It is not Slinky. Craig, do you have a guess?
What is? It can't be this, but I love him. What is Gumby? You remember Gumby?
Stretch Armstrong. I do remember Gumby. That's
Thank
actually
you for
a very
someone
good guess.
giving me credit.
All right,
for
fictional currency for 5.
Fictional currency
We're
for
so
5.
bad at this.
In this apocalyptic video game series, Fallout,
Craig Cash Caps.
it is bottle caps. That is correct.
4, fictional currency.
In the video game series Animal Crossing, you start the game living in a tent. You then speak with a raccoon named Tom Nook, who will loan you this type of currency to build a house and other improvements to the island. Are you trying to get some help over there?
Hey, Joe Sangl, what is bells? What is bells? What is bells? What is bells?
Nobody gets points for outside interference, but it is bells.
Boom! Give me points. Come on.
Do fictional currency for 3.
In Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Watto refused payment for Qui-Gon
Oh,
Jinn of this
boom!
currency.
Craig Cash credits.
Nope. Joe Sangl, who is credits? What is credits? I get it because I asked it in a question.
He didn't answer others in the question.
I ask it in the form of a question. Joe Sangl gets it.
You didn't. Did you not hear the inflection in my voice?
I don't think I've been enforcing that all game, but because Joe brought it up, yeah, I will enforce it. Joe gets.
Yes, it's 7-7.
7-7.
All right, for 3, product launch prices.
I said credits.
In the early 1980s, the video game market in the United States was considered dead after the failures of Atari and other major console makers. In October of 1985, Japanese game maker Nintendo revived the American market with the launch of the Nintendo Entertainment System at this price.
Joe Sangl, what is $49.99?
What? Can we do? Whoever's closer wins? Because it's 3 points.
Yeah.
Okay, $49.99.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess $111. 111. Whoever's closer wins.
Woo! Craig Fat wins.
Thank you so much.
You have a speech?
How much? What do I win? This half-drank Seagram's ginger ale.
That was pretty fun.
That was fun. It makes it so hard. It's so hard.
All right, do we have one React content that we can go to, Jeff, just to wrap it up here?
Craig has a Reddit post he could read, but
I
I don't
do.
need a video or anything.
It's been here on the ground.
Hey, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us today. We're going to wrap this up with a couple of reacts.
Okay.
Craig, read it.
This is a Reddit post. It says, am I overreacting? Okay. I, 24 female, and my husband, 24-year-old male, are hiding our finances from his family. Is this okay? And then the post goes in to basically say they have family members, mother-in-law, father-in-law, their in-laws essentially are in debt, and they're asking for money at different times. Like, this couple's doing well. But they're asking it in a way that I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, essentially, because they don't say it very well. They're asking in a way that's not necessarily rude. They're more ashamed when they ask for money. And the people feel like when they give them the money, it's kind of they're throwing it into a black hole, and they don't know what to do to get out of maybe that cycle of how do you help without giving. You know?
I think generational financial disparity, working either direction, is very challenging.
Yeah.
But it's most challenging when it is the parent that is in financial disarray, and the child is successful, because the child knows, that their parents have sacrificed for them, giving birth to them, all the sleepless nights, hauling them off to this game or that game, but then they see that they're stuck in a just a horrible spin cycle of poor financial decision making. And yet, because of the sacrifices of their parents, maybe even helping them go to college,
Right.
They are thriving. And I can understand the guilt complex of that. But, the fact is, they think that they're hiding it from them, but the fact is you can't hide money. You can't hide financial success. If they're still having to change places that they rent because they're not paying rent and they're getting evicted, or they're getting their car repoed, it sounds like they're in horrible financial disarray, and you're not, and you're buying a house and you're driving a new car. You're not hiding it. You think you are, but you're not.
Right.
And I would just be real with them. And, when they ask for financial assistance, I might be inclined to help them, but the way I would help them is I would give them the money. I would not loan them the money. In my mind, I would just give it to them. And as a result, say, hey, this is yours. I really hope that you manage it well, and I want to see it help you move forward. And I would give to specificity. a very specific thing. Hey, I'm going to give you this iPad versus giving them cash, because cash
Goes away.
is less directed. Yeah.
It grows wings. That's what you used to always say. Flies away.
Anything you would add to that?
No, I mean,
It's
I
a
think
tough
you're right.
situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that generational disparity is so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit everything right. Certainly it gets to a point where you have to decide, how do I stop this? How do I protect myself? But look, that always kind of goes back to just communicating and being clear. Saying, hey,
There's
this
a
is what
great
to do.
book from Dr. Henry Cloud called Boundaries that I think would be very beneficial to that couple to read, to help them set effective personal and financial boundaries.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us for this YouTube Live. Thank you, Craig Cash, for joining me.
Thank you.
C squared, Craig Cash.
Yep.
Or do you spell cash with a K?
No, it's CC.
Okay.
CC.
And we would love to hear feedback from you. This is our first broadcast on YouTube Live. We would like to hear, what segment did you like the best? What segment should we just dump? What is new stuff that we should add? We want to get better because we're here to help serve you and help you in your journey to live and stay in a fully funded life. Have a great day, everybody. Get fired up.
Thank you.